At some point in our lives, we have all wondered, why this family? Why this childhood, with its mix of happiness and sadness, injustice and love, tragedy and laughter? Why these parents, these circumstances? Is it biology, chance, or something much more profound that lies beyond the obvious? The sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce, provided an alternative viewpoint to the materialist one. Cayce asserts that nothing in our lives, particularly those of our families, are random. He explained in his hundreds of trance readings how the soul plans its future incarnation before it is born. And one of the most important decisions in this design is selecting a family. According to Cayce's readings, souls chose advancement over comfort. This explains why a large number of us are born into difficult situations, homes that are characterized by suffering, absence, dysfunction, or apparently insurmountable difficulties. However, Cayce emphasized that these situations are not arbitrary. The soul chooses them in order to give it the exact lessons it requires at that point in its development. Cayce frequently mentioned a philosophical idea that he named the Book of Souls, a cosmic log that contains the details of each soul's past incarnations. The soul refers to this record when getting ready for a new existence in order to determine which karma has to be cleared, which patterns need to be broken, and which connections require reconciliation or healing. In order to feel the effects of their previous actions, a person who abandoned their family in a previous life may return in a subsequent one as the kid of an absentee father, as a chance for spiritual integration and empathy rather than as a kind of punishment. As a reward or continuation of a higher path, a soul that has previously given selflessly may decide to incarnate in a loving, caring family. A youngster who claimed he was born to the wrong mother is the subject of one of Cayce's most intriguing tales. His true family was somewhere else, he insisted. The soul had originally intended to incarnate into a different family, but at the last minute, a shift in frequency took him somewhere else, according to Cayce, who his parents brought him to. Not as a mistake, but as a fresh start with fresh insights. Our family members are not strangers in this context. These are souls that we have previously encountered, connected by karmic ties that span multiple incarnations. In other incarnations, the individuals closest to us now might have been our partners, children, or adversaries. The soul connections endure even while these positions change. Family trauma is not useless, Cayce underlined. It is not because the soul deserves to suffer if a kid is born into abuse or neglect. Rather, it is because the soul is prepared to confront and change that experience. The father and mother are spiritual partners in addition to being carriers of DNA. According to him, the mother serves as the soul's entryway into the material world and frequently reflects the soul's most profound emotional lessons. The father shapes the future by serving as a symbol of order and guidance. The soul's greatest test can occasionally be found in the relationship with the mother, particularly when maternal love is lacking or twisted. In certain situations, the soul is receiving the most rigorous education conceivable in the areas of forgiveness, trust, and self-worth. On the other hand, the father frequently presents the problem of alignment, or how to navigate the world when direction is harsh or erratic. According to Cayce, the soul also selects the nation, the culture, and even the era in which it is born. Everything, including the language we use and the terrain we travel on, is in harmony with the soul's present evolutionary requirements. The soul doesn't look for comfort. The spirit seeks depth, challenge, and ultimately light, whereas the body and personality want comfort and approval, respectively. According to Cayce, many spirits come back to end generational cycles. A soul may choose to incarnate in a lineage that has harbored fear, abuse, or silence for many generations, not for its own sake, but to break the cycle. The carriers of transformation are these people. Compared to early childhood, they feel different, misinterpreted, inappropriate, and overly sensitive. However, the familial energy starts to change via them. They are here to reawaken a latent aspect of the bloodline, not to comply. Some spirits come back to serve, not to grow. These service souls come from difficult homes to help others learn their lessons rather than to learn their own. They are profoundly transformational, frequently invisible, and offer light where it is most needed. Cayce often talked of soul groups, which are groupings of souls that reincarnate together, shifting roles and dynamics, but constantly coming back to each other for mutual development. It's possible that your current sibling was once your mother. You may have once been guided spiritually by a child. Because of these links, we occasionally recognize specific people right away, even when we haven't met them yet. And souls come back to mend old wounds, just as they do to encourage or teach one another. In order to make amends, rather than exact revenge, a soul may decide to reincarnate alongside someone who deceived them in a previous incarnation. This clarifies the conflict we occasionally have with a family member who seems to go on after this world. The soul now has the opportunity to react differently, to break the cycle, as the unresolved past has found a new stage. It is possible for a soul to be born to a cruel parent in order to gain compassion in the face of rejection, strength without hatred, or the ability to forgive what it was previously incapable of. Although these decisions are challenging, Cayce asserted that the soul never takes on more than it can manage. On a soul level, what appears to be excruciating suffering on the exterior is a brave act of spiritual duty. According to Cayce, the soul consults with higher entities, such as elders or guides, before each incarnation in order to evaluate previous incarnations and create the blueprint for the next one. They look at spiritual objectives, karmic connections, and unresolved patterns together. And a life is planned on the basis of that. The main components, the family, the important relationships, the early surroundings, and the significant crossroads, are chosen with clarity and purpose. Even though not every detail is set in stone, free choice still remains. Every soul is aware of what it is about to encounter, and all souls agree. Fixed destinies or unalterable fates are not the subject of this video. It's more like to a roadmap, a peaceful path that the soul selects before to birth. We are not string-controlled robots. Free will is a gift we possess. However, there are some significant life events that are predetermined, and our birth family is among the first and most significant of them. The famous mystic and healer Edgar Cayce called this the soul plan. Before beginning a new existence, our souls create a kind of blueprint, he said. This plan outlines the individuals we will meet, the type of body we will have, any ailments we may encounter, the skills we are supposed to acquire, the locations we must visit, and even any potential catastrophes. These difficulties are not arbitrary. Rather, they are intended to help us discover something more profound about ourselves. Why somebody would prefer pain is a question that some individuals have. Why would a spirit voluntarily enter a life of hardship or a body that would suffer? The soul does not fear pain, was Cayce's straightforward response. It fears a life devoid of purpose. To put it another way, leading a life devoid of meaning, development, and depth is worse than suffering. A soul will have to come back and redo the lesson if it doesn't accomplish the goal for which it arrived. That's why family is such a powerful option. We are shaped by our families in ways that defy reason. There we develop a lot of our emotional habits and inner patterns. In order to learn about spiritual ideals, a soul may select parents that are materialistic. Or it can pick a mother who finds it difficult to love and teach her to love unconditionally. It's possible for a child to be born disabled, not as a punishment, but as a means of bringing about more awareness in both the child and others around them. Rather than asking, "Why am I experiencing this? What is this here to teach me?" was the alternative question Cayce urged us to ask. Because the solutions are already within the soul, deep down, we simply must keep in mind. What Cayce referred to as karmic knots inside families is among the most intriguing and poignant concepts in his teachings. According to him, souls frequently reincarnate together, particularly with individuals they had close relationships with in previous lifetimes. However, these relationships aren't always harmonious. The soul frequently goes back to the same individuals to confront what was left undone, to extend forgiveness, to ease past hurt, or to release a connection that seemed impenetrable at one point. Cayce once recounted an instance in which a man who had been a harsh and domineering father in one life was reborn as the same soul's child in a subsequent incarnation, but in the opposite capacity. The soul can now experience what it did to someone else because of this reversal. In a similar vein, lovers from a previous life might reappear as siblings, not to relive passionate love, but to feel a closer, more innocent bond founded on devotion, respect, and care. These tales may initially seem unbelievable or even unbelievable. Cayce, however, maintained that no family bond is ever arbitrary. Even the most challenging family members, the ones we quarrel with and feel estranged from, can be effective educators. Instead of trying to destroy us, they push us to become more self-respecting, to forgive deeply, and to discover our own inner strength. The people who drive us to grow the greatest are sometimes the ones who have damaged us the most. They reveal aspects of ourselves that we otherwise would not have found. According to Cayce, that is frequently their actual function in our life. Additionally, he made a statement that challenges our conventional wisdom. Kids select their parents, not the other way around. Families are chosen by souls because they provide the precise experience that the soul needs for development, not because they are ideal. To assist them awaken to love in a more profound and unconditional way, a spiritually advanced soul might, for example, pick parents who don't believe in spirituality. Or a person who has abused authority in the past can decide to be born into a household that is oppressed or impoverished in order to fully comprehend humility. According to Cayce, everyone in our lives serves as a teacher of some sort. Each function in the family, parent, sibling, or child, is like a mirror that reflects back what our souls need to see. And everything starts to change when we adopt this perspective on our relationships. Have you ever wondered why you were born into this family? Why these individuals? According to Cayce, the response is straightforward but profound. Because your spirit sensed that it could flourish in this setting the greatest. This has nothing to do with punishment. It has to do with evolution. It has to do with awakening. Our perspective on life dramatically shifts when we begin to acknowledge that this is the route our soul has chosen. We no longer feel like victims of misfortune or unjust circumstances. We start by asking, what can I learn from this? As opposed to, why did this happen to me? And the path to recovery begins with that inquiry. This way of thinking does not imply that we should tolerate abuse or remain in dangerous circumstances. Absolutely not. That was never Cayce's suggestion. He did suggest, however, that there might be a lesson or insight to be gained from any traumatic event. It's about realizing the greater significance of our experiences, not about placing blame on ourselves or other people. Something amazing occurs when we begin to view our family members as souls, beings with lengthy histories and lessons of their own, rather than just as mom, dad, my brother, or my child. We start to experience patience, compassion, and an unfathomable love. According to Cayce, no encounter in life, not even a quick one, is coincidental. Family ties, however, are significantly more significant. We had previously known those souls in different eras and locations. Some might have been pals, others might have been adversaries. All, nevertheless, are a part of the journey of our souls. And life changes when we truly accept that, when we stop battling the past and begin to comprehend it. We start to view our kids as intelligent individuals who have come to teach us as much as we teach them, rather than as empty vessels to be molded. We forgive our parents because, perhaps, just possibly, we requested them to be exactly who they are before we were born, so that we could learn this lesson. And we forgive ourselves because we no longer view life as a series of errors, but rather as a compilation of experiences that shaped who we are. According to Cayce, Karma may be altered, and not by accident but consciously. We can forge new paths by altering our thoughts, emotions, and reactions to life. Although we may be born into a particular story, it is up to us to decide how to carry on with it. We no longer feel imprisoned once we begin to live with this consciousness. We are no longer constrained by someone else's plan. We acknowledge that we have a hand in creating our own path. As spirits, we have selected one another to serve as a constant reminder of what is truly important. And in the end, Cayce thought, love was the only thing that endured all these lifetimes. The unifying element in all stories is love. It is the sole power that endures across all time, all bodies, all names, and all experiences.